Hi, I'm Kerry.
And I'm Rose.
And we've both been working together for some years now on local housing solutions in the Bellingen Shire through the Housing Matters Action Group. And now we're working on this really exciting project to set up the Waterfall Way Community Land Trust.
And we both live and work in Bellingen. And like many of you, we're seeing how hard it is for local people on local incomes to get safe and affordable housing.
So what we did was talk to people about what they were experiencing in relation to housing stress.
Yeah, and what we heard was very familiar, all too familiar these days. We're hearing people can't afford to save for a deposit. We're hearing people can't live where they work. We're hearing people are being displaced. And we're hearing that there's a community fabric here that's under strain.
So we talked to people from the community facing housing stress. We talked to people who work at council and local councillors. We talked to local business owners, and they all talked about the things that Rose just talked about, and then the trickle down or the trickle over effect on what that means to our local economy and what that means to our community when local workers on local wages can't get secure, affordable housing.
But we're sharing this video because we have hope. It doesn't have to stay this way. Please stay tuned to the end to hear about a local solution that we're implementing in ways that you can get involved.
Because we're not going to give up.
It's becoming unaffordable for everyday people to live here, and that's, I think that what we will face as businesses is that services right across the board will suffer. And I honestly don't know how we can fix it.
Been renting a granny flat. I've got 2 kids, so it's too small for us now. So within the next 6 to 12 months, I'm going to have to move out of that. And the jump from what I'm paying, which is $350 to $700 or 600 maybe if I'm lucky, that's significant. I'm lucky because I do earn half decent money, but it's still a big chunk. Yep. And I remember when I first rented in Bellingen 10 years ago, I got a 4-bedroom house for $300 just on the corner, just near here. There's no way that's ever going to happen again.
But like I said, it's not the housing, it's the affordability to it, And if you've got a family and you've got to take them to school, you've got to get the clothes, you've got to,
Every applicant for a rental property, it states the percentage of their income that is going towards rent. Now I know that it should be no more than around 30%. That's hard. But I'm getting these applications where it's 60%, 70% of their total income, and I think, well, they're going without meals.
So my family and I have been here for nearly 12 years. We were, we had this naivety that when we're ready, I'd go back to work, I'd retrain and be earning good money, and we would be able to buy into the markets. We make it work, but it's tight, and we both find ourselves, getting to the end of the fortnight, really waiting for our, our next payday, and it just it makes it pretty much impossible to save, especially in terms of thinking about saving for a house, and anything extra is really about providing for our family and our kids. Yeah, it just feels like you are on that treadmill and that you're only really a couple of paychecks away from being in not a very good space.
The stress on people when they don't have a secure home is enormous. It takes up almost all of their energy that they could be using in all the other amazing things that people do, like, contributing to community and the economy through their work or through their volunteering or through their care of raising children or caring for other people. It's just impacting almost everyone in our shire.
The other thing, I think that's been really evident is the impact on local businesses, even including ourselves here at council, trying to attract and retain staff, because you may get an applicant for a position, but when they actually look into the detail of, great, I want that job, but where can I live? Sometimes they've had to turn away from that opportunity. And so businesses, you know, particularly in our service industries, are really struggling to attract and retain staff.
Locally, I see a lot less young people being able to get ahead and be in local communities. So then you've got young people moving away. So the other impact is you've got lots of businesses that have always got signs in the window where they're wanting staff. You know, they're wanting staff in the IGA, they're wanting staff at the real estate agent for receptionists, they're wanting staff in all the cafes. And those are the people that can't afford to live here and can't afford to live in Bellingen or Urunga, can't afford to live in Coffs, and they're moving to the bigger centres where they can.
I mean, there is plenty of work out there, but it's getting the people to be able to somewhere to live and affordably. I mean, this is a great place to live. I mean, you got the rivers, you got everything, but just the lack of housing is a major issue.
I think we're no different than any other business within town, in that we are struggling for new employees and existing employees to actually get housing that's affordable within the Shire.
So we're just seeing a lot of stress that's filtering out into anyone who uses those services and anyone who works in a cafe or owns a small business or a large business. It's affecting every part of the community except probably people who are very well established, very good networks and have owned property for a long time here.
There has been some displacement of, you know, locals, of working families, of single people who have been impacted by those sort of financial pressures and have had to make a decision to move out of the area that they had chosen to live in. So there's been some, I guess, renewal, and that creates a change to the diversity, the colour, the texture of the communities that we know and love. Hard to control, but you know, it's an observation that it's happening.
Yeah, I know lots of people that have had to move many times. There's a lot of people that I know that are couch surfing and living in really less than ideal conditions. It's very hard for people leaving domestic violence situations right now to do so safely. It's not a safe thing to do at the best of times, but this is the worst of times. It's very, very hard for people to just find somewhere and move on from the situation they're in when they're in a bad situation.
But we've had some staff members confidentially say to me that they've actually been homeless for a period of time. Right. So they haven't necessarily confided that in us at the time. Which is a bit of a shame, because we would have probably tried to see how we could have assisted those people. But where they've said, yeah, last month I was homeless.
Right, that's pretty shocking in a community like ours, that people who are on what I imagine would be, you know, pretty reasonable wages can't secure affordable housing here.
Yeah, and the sad thing is that people feel ashamed, and there's no need to be ashamed, because it is a crisis, it's a disaster that we are facing. And part of the sad thing about that is that we would like to be able to provide whatever support we can to these people to assist them, but they feel ashamed and don't feel like they can raise that because they feel lesser in themselves. So that's I guess an indictment on our society at the moment.
And we ain't seen nothing yet, dear, honestly. It's all about money today and not about humans.
In my job at the Youth Hub, the kids that I see coming in, I think they feel a sense of hopelessness, that, you know, they'll never be able to afford a house for themselves. They share memes between each other, you know, that there's no house for us to buy, there's no future for us. Well, what are we going into? And I think locally that leads to disengagement from school. They feel a sense of hopelessness and that they're not cared about. So why would they care about themselves? Why would they attend school? I think they see their parents struggling to pay rent. Kids in crisis come for help, like I'd like to move out of home or I want to find a rental somewhere, and there simply is nothing, you know. I was dealing with a young man from Dorrigo last week trying to find crisis accommodation for him. Because of the rental crisis in general, there's no crisis housing. I think, you know, we would like our young people to engage more in school and be better citizens in our shire, and yet we're not really. Imagine if we could say to them, we're going to do whatever we can to make sure you have a future you can imagine yourself in. And right now there's nowhere for them to go. They're very concerned about their financial lives more than their, emotional lives. I think our focus on, you know, trauma and well-being and things, I think for them it's, I just want to make some money, because right now, what's my future looking like? You know, I'm never going to be able to afford a house. Why would I care about myself? So I think they feel forgotten. I think there's a sense of lamenting and not knowing what is out there for them. Where I think when we were young, the sense of you could find a job and buy a house and have a family, there was kind of a path you could at least imagine yourself heading towards. I think now they're not really sure what's coming for them, and maybe we don't either.
So what we just heard is really clear. The housing crisis is hitting hard. We're hearing that services and businesses are both really struggling to attract and retain staff, that locals are struggling to get affordable housing, and that the community itself is under strain.
But we also heard that people want to stay. They want to stay living here in the community that they know and love. Businesses need people to stay living here who can do the work that we all need for the community to continue to operate. And local families want to stay living here and raise their children here so their children have a future to look forward to in their hometown.
And that's why we're working on a community-led solution. It's called the Waterfall Way Community Land Trust.
So a community land trust is a model that takes land off the market, low or no cost land, and it provides forever affordable homes for locals with a limited resale value, so forever affordable homes are available.
Yeah, so if that sounds like something that is of interest to you and you want to get involved, we'd love to see that. You can join our e-news, you can share this video with your friends and networks, or join a working group.
We know that there's not one solution to the housing crisis and that there are many answers, but we really believe that this is an answer that our community can make happen if we work together to do this.
Yeah, because together we can make a difference.